New York Times bestselling author Meena Harris and I are snapping a selfie in celebration of her new book. It's easy for me to call her an author. She is one, but Meena has struggled a little with that title.
Frankly, only recently I've become more confident, calling myself a children's book author. I set out in the beginning to do something very personal with my first book, which was to honor my grandmother.
That first book, published in 2020, was Kamala and Maya's big idea, inspired by her aunt and mother. Then came Ambitious Girl and The Truth About Mrs. Claus. By the way, Santa's wife has a job. Meena's latest, A is for Ambitious, is a sequel to her second book.
I was joking that although that book was focused on that one word, I'm sure I could write an ABC book for every letter in the alphabet, for all of the words that we all know can be used in different ways for women than they are often used for men.
I hate this word about women, and this was another woman telling me this, that they described Kamala Harris as ambitious.
A is for Ambitious explores the power of language and our ability to redefine terms.
B does stand for bossy in the book, so we are not banning bossy. C is for confident, D is for determined, E is for emotional, F is for feminist. Children have great power and ability to understand and to learn.
Meena points to a study by the Cooperative Children's Book Center that shows in 2018 there were more children's books about animals and other non-human characters than all people of color combined. Over half of all books featured white characters, the majority being white boys, and the needle hasn't moved much on those stats.
And there's Goodnight Moon and Hungry Caterpillar and all these lovely iconic kids books. At a certain point, asking myself, where are the little black girls that look like my daughter? And now my daughters, we would often change the pronouns from he to she to they. We would take a brown marker and color skin in with a brown marker sometimes. It all does truly go back to my grandmother. She always said, do something. What are you gonna do about it?
That's Mommy.
Yeah, that's me.
And then Mommy wrote this book.
Author wasn't on Meena's list of ambitions, but she did it, and that's kind of the theme for Harris women.
You, to say the least, have ambitious women in your life and grew up in a household with ambitious women. Your mother, your aunt, your grandmother.
It was just the four of us. You're making me emotional because talking about my grandmother always does that. It was like the opening scene of the Wonder Woman movie where you have these incredible, strong, powerful, fearless women just running around, helping each other.
Meena's grandmother, Shyamala Gopalan Harris, was a renowned biomedical scientist and activist. Her aunt is Vice President Kamala Harris, and her mother, Maya Harris, is an accomplished lawyer and public policy advocate who had Meena at age 17.
One, she used to joke that when I went to college, she was going to be my college roommate because I was hers. In law school, she sometimes took me to her classes. I would sit in the back with her.
It only seems right that all that exposure led to Meena's resume. Stanford undergrad, then tech, Harvard Law School, practicing law, back to tech.
Were you ever fearful of making a pivot?
Absolutely, and I always have to start off my response to this question with acknowledging how incredibly privileged I was to be able to make a pivot.
In 2016, she made another shift.
For me, at least, having been involved in politics my whole life, I definitely had a moment of, did I do enough? Could I have done more? And hearing my grandmother, well, what are you gonna do about it? Do something.
The answer was phenomenal. It started out as a simple t-shirt inspired by Dr. Maya Angelou's famed poem. The shirts support the rights of women and other social causes. The apparel and messages on them continue to evolve, and so has the company.
A year ago, formally announced our expansion into content and entertainment and are now a 360-degree, values-driven media company that continues that mission from day one, which is centering women and underrepresented communities and understanding the power of brand and storytelling to lift up underrepresented experiences.
When I saw the producer list for A Strange Loop, which I did not realize there was any connection, then I saw Phenomenal Media.
Yeah.
What? How wild is that?
It was so exciting. I feel honored to have played a very small role in that incredible historic production.
Phenomenal Media co-produced A Strange Loop. The Pulitzer Prize and Tony Award-winning Broadway musical centers around a story of blackness and queerness. Meena's story is still being written. You could call her an activist in her own right, but she hesitates to use that title too.
You know, I'm doing this my own way, and whether you call that activism or you call it being an entrepreneur or being creative or disrupting media or right, it's just about finding my own way.
But it is safe to call her ambitious. Meena wears that title proudly. Jobina Fortson, ABC 7 News.